The world unites to condemn the barbaric slaughter of Americans in the largest mass shooting in modern U.S. history, while those holding on tight to their guns are hoping that the thoughts and prayers fairy will stop people from talking about the obvious.
No! Stop thinking for yourself again!
Welcome to the Late Night Shot. I'm Scott Black, and this isn't the type of news that I really wanted to do on this show, but this is what's happened. People around the world were shocked, saddened, and disgusted by the horrible terrorist attack, and that's what it was, mainstream media, a terrorist attack in Las Vegas. The details of the event are well documented, and I won't even go into it or mention the shooter's name because that just gives this kind of jag-off power. People are coming out all over the world to condemn this and the gun culture in the United States, myself included. We're saying that it's time for change. Even one of the artists, guitarist Caleb Keeter, that performed at the country music festival that was attacked, stated that he was once a staunch supporter of the Second Amendment and has now seen how wrong he was. However, there are others that claim that this isn't the time to talk about it, or that the problem that people at the festival weren't actually armed. A claim that Keeter took apart, saying, "We actually had members of our crew with concealed handgun licenses and firearms on the bus." Keeter also wrote in a statement, "They were useless. We couldn't touch them for fear the police might think we were part of the massacre and shoot us. A small group or one man laid waste to a city of dedicated, fearless police officers desperately trying to help because he had access to an insane amount of firepower." Look, I don't blame the business that sold them the guns. They did everything they were legally supposed to, and they're just trying to make a living. I don't blame the hotel staff like many are because of the large amount of bags terrorists brought into the hotel. They could have been musical equipment. There was a festival going on. I blame the NRA that feeds on people's fears and puts profits over lives. I blame the government that would rather cash another NRA check than protect its people. And I blame those who say it isn't the guns, it's my right. Some random comment about snowflakes or more guns is the answer. Because you're putting people's lives below your want to blow it up. You are claiming false flag operations, trying to find evidence of cover-ups. Why? Is it because you know that this is a debate that you're on the wrong side of? Or you're just like everyone else and you're just trying to make sense of the senseless? There's no punchline here, folks, because this isn't fucking funny anymore. Look, I'm not naive. I understand how cool guns are in video games and in movies. They're awesome. But in real life, they just don't make sense anymore. It's like @DaveKingThing said on Twitter. I mean, I fucking love pizza, but if pizza violently killed 30,000 people a year, I'd be like, okay, maybe none of us should have pizza. Now, popping the hood on the US and looking down under, two of Australia's former prime ministers have made the news again and have outshined our current one. Former Prime Minister John Howard was PM of OZ for over 11 years, and in that time he did a lot of things. Some good, some not so good. But why is he in the news again? Is that people are applauding the fact that he did bring in tough gun laws in Australia after 35 people were murdered in Port Arthur in 1996. People are using Australia as a poster for how gun laws should be handled in the US. Many claim that this isn't fair because Australia doesn't have the population of the US, which is correct. We have the population of Texas, which has had over 3,000 deaths per year due to guns. Australia? Maybe 200? But what about mass shootings, I hear you ask? Well, that's a different story. Since 1996, Texas has had many. The exact number is determined on what you consider a mass shooting. It ranges from 5 to over 20. Australia? None. 13 mass shootings before 1996? None after the gun laws. You can't hide behind rhetoric anymore. The only thing that you can say is, I don't want to. Everything else is just a lie. Another reason John Howard is in the news? Those bloody eyebrows. Check them out. The older he gets, the bigger they get. We spared no expense at this computer simulation of what he'll look like by age 100. Majestic. The other man in the news is former PM and professional pickled liver Bob Hawke. Hawke has come out giving our current Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull, nice callback from last week, a verbal smackdown over marriage equality postal vote. Hawke, who voted yes on the postal vote, said it's something that should have just been voted on in Parliament and not wasting the country's money on a non-binding vote. Speaking at the National Press Club, Hawke said it cost 122 million bloody dollars. Bob Hawke added, after sculling a tinny or two I imagine, can you imagine that a Prime Minister would make a decision in this stringent time spending $122 million on a process that can't produce the result when you could do so much to reduce the gaps Aboriginal people face in education and so on? Without any question, he added, the worst economic decision made by any Australian Prime Minister. Hold on, Malcolm. Hawks just pulled out a can of whoop ass and he sculled it too. Bloody legend. Though, I don't know if it's the worst economic decision, Bob. Malcolm is still the PM responsible for the NBN. It's like Google Fiber if instead of fast internet you got a dead hamster taped to a hamster wheel and an old 90s AOL CD-ROM. That might also be a bonehead move. Plus, he's got time. I'm sure there'll be more. That's all the time we have for this week. Next week, less sad and preachy and funnier. Maybe. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below and make sure to subscribe and like. You can hit me up on Twitter here. You can watch last week's episode here. Or you can check out a new series where I watch my old late night shows and drink to cover my shame by clicking here. It's fun. I swear. Bye.
No!